Hey guys, so we're doing a walkthrough on the TryHackMe. We've been playing with this. I think it's called the Junior Pentester, Penetration Tester. We've actually covered a couple of rooms there. We've got video for file inclusion and cross-site requests forgery. I think those were the two I've been able to record. Uh, The other ones are pretty basic. I want to do for cross-site scripting, and I'm also going to do for command injection. Maybe we cover this web hacking series. Then we can probably take some from network. I see these ones are also pretty basic stuff. We'll just play with them. Then maybe do some, I think we covered these ones already. I've got some videos on YouTube also. Then maybe we'll do some metasploits, probably exploitation, meta stuff. I'm sure it's going to be pretty also around that intermediate level. Then the privilege escalation. I look forward to seeing this one. I'm sure it will be fun. Okay, so let's get back on track. We'll be taking this cross-site scripting. Then I think I might just put it alongside the command injection, maybe take both of them together. So this video might be a bit long, probably up to 30 minutes. I'll try to keep it shorter. So let's get right into this. At the brief, it was just a basic question, and I believe you can take on that. For this, they're asking the question, which document property could contain the user session token. So pretty much we'll find that in the cookies. So I believe the cookies, if you read this, you'll see that probably explained somewhere, but I'm keeping all that for you to do the reading on your own. But just like this, you can see document cookie. I believe that should even be the answer. Maybe I copy that and paste that here quickly just to verify. See if that's the answer. No, there seems to be a delay, but that's the answer. Okay. So next, which JavaScript method is often used? Well, I think this will be the last because that's what pops up, right? And you find that here. So I'll just copy this as well and paste this here. Let's verify if that's the answer. Okay, that seems to be the answer. So we've got the second challenge completed. We'll move on to the third challenge quickly. Now, this is a reflected cross-site scripting. I've got a video on my YouTube channel also about cross-site scripting. So I will skip some of the explanation here. It's a good technique to have of your arsenal as a pen tester. So where is the URL? Where is an URL? Where in an URL is a good place? Well, I think a good place to place this would be where you find parameters. Usually something like what you can see in here, the question mark error equals. So we pass in that script here where there's a parameter being waited for. So I'm going to just verify. Well, I'm sure somewhere, okay, you can see it's actually here. So I'm just going to copy this and paste this here. That's for reflected. Pretty much difficult to find one because it can be easily sanitized or filtered. But when you start looking at the stored, the DOM, and the blind, then sometimes you find that, but you have to do some digging to look for it. The explanation here also works perfect. So if I will leave you to go read this around and tinker around that explanation, but it's a perfect explanation because it tells you how that works. But for stored, we do know it's something that has to do with the database. So it's being executed in the database. So let's go quickly look at the question. How is it stored? Usually it's stored on the website. That would be database without thinking too much. I'll just look for where that is so you guys can see that in the explanation here. If I cannot find, then I will still try it because I know it's on the database. So I'll just put that here and see if that's the answer. I'm going to submit this. That's the answer, obviously. So for the DOM, basically the good explanation also happening here. Well, if at this point I may be probably forced to say that if you haven't been looking at TryHackMe, trust me, they've got some very good rooms that teaches you what pen testers actually will do in a scenario base, because they give you the lab, they give you a good explanation. That way you're schooling yourself without having to go through any university or go pay for one nasty, annoying course that is just a repetition of nonsense or a bunch of garbage. I'm going to quickly jump into the question. You can see they are telling you something like window, the location hash, or stuff like that. You find that pretty much common here. What unsafe JavaScript method is good to look for? Well, I think that will be eval, because usually that's where you find that dumb thing sitting. So if I cannot find it here also, it should be somewhere. Okay, this. So I'm just going to copy this. If you read this, you see when you found those bits of code, you then need to see how they're handled, and where and whether the values are ever written to the web page DOM or passed to an unsafe JavaScript method such as eval. So that's where we take a look at. We paste this here and submit that flag, and you see that's exactly what it is. Okay, then this one is for blind, pretty much difficult because now you're not seeing nothing, right? So I think there was a job I was doing testing for blind on a website, and that was pretty tough. All I was trying, I couldn't get. I was trying to look out for maybe the timer or a few other things, but just wasn't working out. I was almost getting frustrated. But there are automated tools that can help you maybe ease the burden of trying to do this manually. So one of such, I see it's mentioned here, XSS Hunter. There are quite a number of them. If you go look at GitHub, you'll find a bunch of them. I'm not going to do that, but I'm urging you to go check Google, GitHub. You'll find a bunch of them. So what tool can be used to test? Basically, we'll copy this and pass it there. That should be the answer because it's mentioned here. But it doesn't mean it's the only tool, actually. I must say that here. Okay, so we'll submit this. Then we'll go to the next question. So for the next question, what type of XSS is very similar to blind? So amongst all of them, I think it's the stored, because from our initial analysis, we saw that this is something that has to do with the database. So not just on the user browser, as we can see in the first example. Most times you find filters on browsers preventing stuff like the first example we saw. So I'm going to drop in here and answer that question. I think this will be stored. So I'll just type that there. So let's verify if that's the answer actually. And that's the answer. So we've got all these things done. Then let's go spin up some machine. I see they've got two challenges here. This is the first one. Then they've got another one with another machine. Wow, this is pretty fun. Okay, so let's start with the first one. I'm going to quickly start the machine. The payload in the JavaScript code, we want to execute either on another user's browser or as a proof of concept. So if you don't know what proof of concept is, also go look that up to demonstrate a vulnerability in a website. In the art of pen testing, sometimes you find vulnerabilities, but the question is it exploitable? And the next, how easy it is to exploit it based on knowledge, based on time, based on resources. And this is where the whole idea of proof of concept comes into play. You're trying to validate it by generating a methodology that can be used to exploit that vulnerability. Okay, enough with my talking. I'm just doing that to maybe allow this countdown to run out so I can have this here and copy this. Okay, but it seems like I pretty much finished my blabbing and that thing is still moving. Not my fault anyways. Okay, so 2 seconds and that will be it. So I see it's done. So we'll copy this and go to our browser. So we'll quickly go over to our browser. Let me just look. Okay, I see I've got a bunch of stuff going on for me here. I'll paste this here and browse to that link. Let me drag it close to where I have this so it's easy for me to switch windows. The aim of each level will be to execute the JavaScript alert function with the string THM. So this is our aim. So we need to use the alerts to execute this to pop up somewhere. So let's see what we have. Enter your name. Okay. My name is Bless. For those who don't know my name. Okay. Hello, Bless. Okay, confirming XSS payload. Obviously, that's not going to work. But let's see if this is a thing here. So if you look at what they have here, I'm going to copy this and see in this input, rather than putting my name, what if I paste that here? Will that work? Again, we're testing out this stuff and we were able to draw that pop-up. So you see it worked pretty fine. Now this is what they want to see. Okay, great. So I think we've got that challenge done. XSS payload successful. So let's go to level 2. Again, let's go read up here. Level 1 is done. Okay, then showing us the code structure and how why that was able to work. Okay, great. Level 2, like the previous level, you're being again asked to enter your name. Okay, now this looks a little bit different, but I see we can also use adding this to still bypass that thing. You can do this with the following payload. So we're going to try that out again and see. But first, let's interact with this thing. So I'm going to put Blessed again. I know some social engineers are like, oh yeah, it's telling us his name. You can find my name on LinkedIn. Okay, so this didn't seem like it works. Okay, but we see we've got this second stage input here. So we're going to be leveraging that. Let's quickly copy this payload. So the important part of the payload is this, which closes the value parameter and then closes the input tag. So pay attention to that. So let's quickly copy this and go past that in here. I see I'm going to pass it here and test to see if it works. Oh, this doesn't work. I can put an enter. Okay, so maybe I'm supposed to pass that here. I was pressing my keyboard enter, but that didn't work also. So this popped up again. Cool. Do we have a third challenge? Oh, it's taking a while. Okay, that's pretty much done. Let's go to the third challenge. Okay, again, we're going to read this up quickly. You're presented with another form of asking for your name. Okay, so in this case, your name gets reflected. So let's try and see what that output looks like again. So look at what is happening here. This input form is quite different from the previous one which we had seen. So if you go read that up here, they're telling us that with another form asking for your name, and the same as the previous level, your name gets reflected inside, in this case, an HTML tag. So which means we'll be doing using some different technique here. So they're giving us this time the Pentester tag, as we can see that here by that little design by the side. We'll have to escape this tag to be able to execute our payload. So we're passing this to escape that tag, then we're executing our payload. So let's see. Now, if you look at that, it's a slash. So which means we are closing that tag, basically. That's what this is doing. So we're going to copy this and go try that out. See if it works. So we're going to paste that here again and press and enter here. If we bypass it, again, we're able to alert THM. Then there should be a level 4. Whilst that is loading, I'll just go look at it. What are we supposed to do here? Entering your name into the form, you will see it is reflected on the page. Let me go try that out. Oh, sorry. Oh, go to level 4. My bad. Sorry. So I'm just gonna put that here. Okay. Then I'm gonna press enter or click enter. Oh yeah, so you see this. Okay, great. Different from the previous one. So what they are telling us here is that it gets reflected on the page. This level looks similar to level 1 quite a bit, but upon inspecting the page source, let's see, so you'll see your name get reflected in some JavaScript code. Let's look at the page source quickly. Oh no, I was looking at the selection source. Obviously that's it. We can see, okay, this is, oh no, this is not it. That was the output. I'm just going to view the page source. So let's go find where that script execution is happening. So we can see, as an example, enter your name here. Then look at that thing here. Great. So document.get element by class name where the inner HTML. Look at that. Okay, so it's pulling this out from that HTML form. Then passing the value out of payload quickly and go in here. How about we pass this in here for our name and send that over? Let's see what happens. That was able to try out the alert. Do we have another challenge? There's a level 5. Whoa, okay. So again, let's go look at that. Is that the last one? Okay, that's the last one. So let's see. This might be a combination of everything. Now, this looks like the same as level 1, and your name also gets. Let's first go passing our name again and see what it returns at us. Okay, it just looks like level 1. So they're saying, but if you try this payload, so this is the payload from 1, but we've added a few this column thing there. Let's try the payload and see if it works on this. I doubt if it's going to work anyways. It's confirming it failed, so they're saying the payload won't work. When you view the page source, you'll see exactly. Let's go look at that. So let's see that payload that we passed, which is somewhere this part here. Okay, then going back to this, it will the word script gets removed exactly because we can't find the script there. It's just showing us the alert, which means it's doing some form of sanitization in that input. Okay, so let's see. When a word gets removed from the string, here is a helpful trick. So they're giving us some trick to do that. Now look at this. We're passing the scripts alert, then we close that out. So which means even if this is stripped off, we still have that script in there executing. So it's going to, the filter will remove, but I think some filters can remove layers. So, but this seems like just a basic one. So we're going to try it. We try entering the payload and click enter. Let's see. We'll quickly paste that here and enter. And that just worked. So which means what had been done is the filter stripped off this part of it and this part of it, so we still have our script. I think if we go look at that, let's go look at the page source. Maybe there might be an explanation for it there. So you see the script tag is still there. Great. So it only filtered the part of it, not the other layer of it. Let's quickly go to 6. Then let's see what 6 is doing. Similar to 2, where we had to escape from the value attributes of the tag. So here we need to look for a way to bypass that, which we'll use this in 2. But let's try this payload here in 6. If it works. Oh, look at that. Let me just do this first and see. Kitty little cat. I'm not a cat fan. Anyways, I'm not a cat fan. But that's the image which we seem to have there. I'm a dog person. Don't hate, please. All right, great. So we're going to try and see if we're passing that payload here as well. If it's going to throw us that flag. It did not work. Okay, so payload and go try that quickly. Well, like I did mention earlier, these are still like the basic form of cross-site scripting, and that worked like a charm. Okay, these are still kind of like the basic forms. You can see there are some polyglots here, cool stuff. You can go look up stuff like this. You see, we are making this pretty much complicated to buy, just the aim of bypassing filtering. That's the whole idea. But most times there are also automated scripts that can run this super fast without you trying to try each one after the other. You just need to scan. I think I've got a bug bounty repo from Black Hat Ethical Hacking, and they've got some cool repos there from GitHub, which can help you maybe look for locations where it will be forcing, then force with a bunch of random stuff until it's able to break something or find something, which is pretty cool and easy way to go about this. So let's go grab our flag and we'll submit that over there. Then probably give ourselves a pat in the back with master. So I'm going to spin the second machine up. And probably go with the walkthrough. Okay, so that is loading. And we're going to try and see how we can get this work for us. So, hooray, yeah, waiting for the IP. Let's go read up. So, for the last task, we're going to go over a blind. So this most times is really annoying, actually. Let me be frank with you. Okay, so we'll start the machine. Click on the customer tab. So wait for this to load and give us an IP. Yeah, so you see, it's the 504. So it's jumping with the server because the 5 belongs to the server. So just trying a few more tricks that worked out perfectly. So we got that done with